and hello everyone out there. Thank you for tuning in. This is Virtual Coffee with Ben. My name is Ben Blackman. I'm the Director of Development for RIDG. It's Royal Innovation Design Group, a group of innovation consultants based out of St. Petersburg, Florida. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Before we get started today, I want to encourage everyone once again to go to our YouTube page. It's the RIDG YouTube page, to like and subscribe all of our content. You can also go to ridg.com, that's RIDG.com, download our new free ebook. It's 7 Truths in the Age of Uncertainty. It's going to help guide businesses and innovation groups through these uncertain times. And joining me today, we have a very special guest, Dr. Bill Layman. Bill is an orthodontist. He's also the owner of Straighten Up Orthodontics out of Clearwater, Florida. Of course, today we have Jorn Appelt with us as well. He is the Director of Creativity and Innovation for RIDG. He's helping to run the show. Good morning to you both. Hope you're doing well.
Good morning.
We at RIDG have had the great fortune to work with Dr. Layman and his incredible staff at Straighten Up Orthodontics. I'm excited to have him here to talk about his organization and some of the shifts that he's made in light of the pandemic. Dr. Layman, at what point did you realize that your business was going to be altered significantly due to this pandemic, and what was the process for you to determine kind of the appropriate path forward?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ben and Jorn. We realized probably early March that things were going to change when we saw what was happening around the world, when we saw the closing of restaurants, when we saw the canceling of many activities. We realized that the consciousness of people being around other people and taking infection control seriously and understanding that at that time, the virus, the COVID virus, was going to dramatically alter how we interacted with our patients and with other people. We did not know how long we were going to be closed, but many people that we were speaking to, some very wise people that we consult with, had shared with us that this can be a absolutely fantastic opportunity to restructure. We always joke about in a practice or even in a business anywhere that sometimes making organizational changes can be like changing a tire on a car going 100 miles an hour. And so solving that mousetrap is typically one of the biggest issues. The car stopped for about 6 weeks, and there were a lot of organizational things that we had been talking about, that we had been wanting to do. And so once we realized we were going to have this nice cosmic pause, we started really looking at our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for that. And some of the opportunities really stuck out at us, and how we could solve some of the threats that were coming with our strengths and weaknesses. So early March is when we felt like we needed to take advantage of this opportunity that all the cars had stopped for a moment, to do a pit stop on the business and change out some things to better performing items.
Great. Now, as I mentioned, Jorn and the RIDG team had the opportunity to really help facilitate some of your internal meetings to cast that vision for the future, at least the next 90 days of kind of what that looked like. I'm curious, how important is it to get outside perspective on the work that you're doing, and what was the impact in working with RIDG or any other outside resources that you had in casting that vision for the future?
Well, as a business owner, sometimes we speak a language that isn't easily translated by those that work with us. I know that in the past, I have been guilty of telling everybody it's 12 o'clock, and then I stand in the middle of the clock, and then all of a sudden I look to 3 o'clock, and I tell everybody, hey, let's see what's going on at 3 o'clock, and I forget that at the end of that clock, they have to run all the way around to get there. And the ability to have a translator, to have a third party that helps take all of the innovation, all of the creativity, all of the ideas, all of the visions that me as the business owner is envisioning, and then help bridge all of that information to the people that can actually help you make it happen, or really, honestly, make it happen. RIDG has helped very much in helping me translate my vision, my ideas, or what I feel is best for the business down to the people that can actually make that happen. So that, to me, that bridge has been just invaluable. Some people have a natural talent to be able to pause and communicate their vision to a team and help that team see how to execute it. That's rare in the workplace. And to have the opportunity to have a translator between us is fantastic.
We certainly love translating. I know Jordan, that is his specialty right there, is helping in that translation. If you're just joining us, you're watching Virtual Coffee with Ben. I'm Ben Blackman, Director of Development with RIDG. Today, we're joined by Dr. Bill Layman of Up Orthodontics out of Clearwater, Florida. We're talking about some of the changes that he's had to make in his business in light of the pandemic. Again, if you're interested in hearing more conversations like this, feel free to go to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and subscribe to our content. Dr. Layman, I know a lot of businesses have had to make adjustments, but I can't imagine one that's probably more difficult to change from a physical world to a more virtual or a digital world than the healthcare industry. I know that you're focused on maintaining efficiencies in what you call the digital orthodontic ecosystem. Can you explain how you accomplish that, and what does the future look like for the industry at large? I don't understand how you can have patient care done over Zoom meetings or whatever resources you're using. Can you kind of explain how that's going to work? What does it look like for the average patient moving forward?
So there are technologies in the orthodontic space. So first of all, I'm only going to speak about orthodontics particularly. As far as the grand world of dentistry and all the other items that dentistry provides, I'm not qualified at all to speak about those. In the world of orthodontics, particularly tooth movement. Tooth movement is a process that requires a force, a size of force, a size of a push over a period of time. What we do as orthodontists is we bring people in to reactivate a force, apply a different force, or reposition or add the equipment that executes those forces. I know that's an oversimplification, and at the same time, those are the major categories. So the questions that came to us, that have come to us as a office and as a profession are, what are some techniques we can use to have a force be applied to a tooth in a lighter sense over a longer period of time between reactivations of force? So when I say over a longer period of time, I don't mean a longer treatment. I mean a more efficient force. So if we apply, let's say 200 grams to a tooth and it works for a week, and then a force that we've applied decays or goes away with the type of force we applied, it stops working. If we apply a 50-gram force in a system where the weakest point in the system is the ligament that connects the tooth to the bone, and at a light force, it's an aerobic force. What I mean by that, it's not really an aerobic force, but for sake of argument, you can walk all day. You can only run for a little while. So if you have a light force on a tooth, it can move for weeks and months and towards that point by which we have prescribed without being seen. If you use a different type of force module, then it only works for a little while, and then you need to be seen. With clear aligners. Clear aligners are used, and the plan is created with the end in mind. And so if you have some crooked teeth and the trays are created, those trays are created to move and influence those teeth within an algorithmic restrictions based on the millions of cases that the aligners have done to that endpoint. And so that person, with good compliance, with proper following of directions, may only need to be seen in an office a couple times. And so the good thing about that is that we're always here if they need us. So it's not like they can't come in. And so all of those things have been available to us in the orthodontic profession for years now. We as, or me, I shouldn't say we, I'm really going to be sensitive to talking about the whole profession. Me as an orthodontist, I never really felt super comfortable extending people out so far due to the fact that I did not want them to feel ignored. I did not want them to feel slighted. I did not want somebody to feel like we didn't want to see them in the age of COVID. And not even just, definitely the pandemic and the virus is still out there and it's still important. There's also the economic rebound where most people took 8 weeks off, not by their own choice. And now to get out of school, to get out of work, to come see us is going to be really challenging. And I can imagine that because every business is trying to catch up. So our opportunity to use this technology, use this information that we have to help people achieve the results they want without sacrificing 30 minutes in the car, 20 minutes in the car, 15 minutes in the car. A 10-minute appointment in my office can be an hour or more for the patient. And so eliminating that essentially wasted time, in my opinion, for the patient, but still providing the ultimate benefit is fantastic. And that's what we're moving towards, even more so than we have been already.
You were headed that direction and just kind of accelerated it.
This helped us take a pause and work on for me, working on planning the cases that way, more so having the time from COVID to look at that. Mm-hmm. This helped the entire office. We probably did 1,000 or more telehealth appointments with patients to keep up with them, to check for SOSs, to check for movements that we may not have wanted to see, like I may have really needed to see somebody. We could look at them and make sure nothing was going awry. Of course, if anything was poking, we were helping them, but for the virtual appointments was if they ran out of rubber bands, getting them the tools they need to continue that force mechanism to correct what we're correcting. So we had a great opportunity over those 6 to 8 weeks to really learn this medium as an entire office to bring it forward into what we're doing now.
Now, even though there's going to be a shift towards the telehealth and the virtual appointments, you are still going to have in-person appointments, at least some percentage.
Of course.
What advice do you have for other leaders of patient-focused businesses that try to alleviate the anxiety that your staff or your patients that are coming to see you in person might have, during the chaotic times? People are still worried about their health. If you have an older population of patients that are coming to see you at any point, what is the communication like to kind of put them at ease?
Communicate your treatment plan. Communicate first to the staff, to the employees, to the trusted advisors that you've hired to help your patients, how that patient is still benefiting from your office's services over this vehicle. And 2, communicate to the patient that for me as a patient, I feel like a compromise of care would be my biggest concern. And so let's address that and identify as a provider which patients you feel like you can still provide care in a way that you've promised them. And if you need to alter some of your technologies to provide that care in the way that you had in the past, then investigate that. And so I think, the perceived benefit is that they're going to get what you promised them. The perceived life cycle cost has actually gone down. And so you've helped the patient by not having them travel so much. And help them understand, help anybody understand that the benefit is the same. The cost of their time has gone down because they don't have to travel as much. And then double down on communication to really work on helping them understand that the risk of doing this, how you're mitigating that risk of them following you on this journey. I feel like if those items can be addressed, then the great majority of people will be okay with it, and as they should. Just like anything in the world, if you can mitigate my risk of a new procedure, if you can help me understand that the benefit is probably the same because I was going to provide excellent care for you, and that there is a reduction in cost of them having to get in their car and go places and be somewhere at a certain time and just do something virtual, you've got a big opportunity to encourage the benefit, lower the cost. But the biggest challenge is finding a way and working with people and taking the time to help manage and mitigate that risk that exists. One, acknowledging that it's a risk to them is probably number one. And then two, talking about how your plan of action for that patient is not going to put them in a worse position.
Thank you so much. It's really fascinating to see how much how quickly you've transitioned your business, and certainly we wish you all great success. Before we wrap though, I do want to give you an opportunity for those that are interested in learning more about what you're working on, what's going on at Straighten Up Orthodontics. Is there a place that they could go to get more information?
ClearwaterOrthodontics.com is a great spot. They're happy to call me, 727-446-8005. And happy to answer any questions for anybody out there. Facebook.com/SUOrtho. Many ways to get in touch with us. So please feel free to reach out.
Fantastic. Well, again, we wish you all the best. And I'd like to thank Dr. Bill Layman for joining us. Jorn, of course, for helping out, running the show. If you're interested in learning more about RIDG, you can go to our website. That is www.ridg.com. As I mentioned before, you can download our new free ebook, 7 Truths in the Age of Uncertainty. And then, of course, go to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe and see more content just like this. We'll be back next Wednesday with another episode of Virtual Coffee with Ben. Thank you again for tuning in. Hope to see you next time. Everyone take care out there.
Bye, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ben.
Thank you.
Bill, it was great to see you.
Thank you for having me.